Best in podcast, the best in town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're no damn experts. I'm pretty stoked about the topic we have going on today. I'm going to let you introduce our guest, and then I'm going to tell you why my story.
Why you're extra stoked? Yes. Well, we have in studio today friends of mine, friend of ours, friend of this organization, wonderful artists in our community, Ron and Echo Ukrainetz. And I'm especially excited, Ron, I love you, but I'm especially excited that Echo is joining you today, too. We've been graced by Ron's presence before.
I am, too.
So Ron and Echo, married couple and artists in our Great Falls community.
Mm-hmm.
And I and you and Ron and Echo, we were all there, got to do the preview party for the Russell auction, which is the premise under which we lured you here is, hey, you have some art pieces in the Russell auction. Let's talk about them. But namely, the pieces that you each have in the Russell are absolutely stunning this year.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to talk about them, and I know you're excited to talk about Echo. We're going to let her warm up. I'm going to kick it off with Ron.
Yeah.
Because the 2 feather drop headdress engraving that you have in the Russell auction is not like anything I've seen you do before.
Oh, well, thanks for having us here before
Yes,
we
you
get too
bet.
far along. The engraving is something that I've done for, since the 70s, I think. And it's basically hasn't changed. The medium has changed a little bit. The board that I use now is now masonite and an acid-free product that has clay over the top. And then sometimes that clay is covered with a dark finish, airbrushed and heated and baked, and so it becomes a very stark finish. My technique involves something very simple. I just try and remove the black and reveal the white clay. It takes a delicate touch, and as you can see by arthritic hands here, I've done quite a bit of that. It does take a toll if you go too long engraving, and especially something that detailed. You know, I like accuracy, historical accuracy. That particular piece was actually hanging at the Sam Russell Museum in its full glory, I guess, and it was donated by somebody as part of their collection and part of their exhibit for several years. I did the original sketch at a time when they didn't allow anybody to use cameras. So I got my little backpack cleared at the front desk, and I went down with a pen and a piece of paper, and I sketched the whole thing out, made notes all along the side of it as to what color that is here, and what colors are in the rosette, and what color the drops were, and I know the significance of a lot of the colors of the beading that Native Americans used, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't disgrace or dishonor that sacred piece.
Yeah.
And so I sketched that all out. I went home and I chose a size that was about 2/3 the size of the actual piece. And I redrew the sketch in a larger size, and then transferred that over to the black Claybord, and then started the engraving process. So I'm actually drawing the thing about 4 times before I actually make a mark on the Claybord. I have a whole bunch of different styluses that I use. Some are very sharp and a little wider, and some are very tiny and intricate. And so I have about 8 different tools that I use for the engraving. And so when I do engrave, I just very delicately, if I want to make a broader stroke like the stem of a feather or something, or a rock or a tree branch, I'll use a little wider engraving tool. By wider, you would have to use it to see how wide it is, because you can't really tell the difference just by looking at it. But anyway, got it all engraved. I drew it out. I think it took about a week to get the drawing to where it was accurate according to my sketch, and another couple days to get it drawn onto the Claybord. And then about 6 weeks later, after the engraving and then painting with glazes of acrylic, it was finished. Total time, like I tell everybody,
million
40,
hours.
Right.
43 years, 2 months, 4 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot of steps.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps involved to it, but what makes it unique in several ways is, number one, the detail you can get, and number two, the history behind it, behind that headdress, and who it belonged to, and what's the significance of the colors, because natives themselves didn't make the headdresses for themselves. Somebody else made that headdress and gave it to them because of certain things that they had done within their tribal structure. So being able to tell that story, I think, is pretty important. It really is. And so I'm kind of you all know that I do a lot of reenacting, and I'm pretty involved in that.
Yep.
And through that, we've made some connections with people that can answer questions for me about those items, those parts of doing a headdress. So so I'm pretty excited to be able to have that piece in the auction, just to see how it goes. It is different. There might be a couple other pieces of artists that have engraved something and got into the auction, but carrying it to the extreme with adding the glazes of color, and being very particular, because you can't erase, you can't wipe off. It has to be right the first time. That's why it takes 5 to 6 weeks to do one, because if I feel like I'm pushing, I stop. And I'll go down and pester Echo or work on the car. Rarely, I don't really clean the studio, but
No, he doesn't.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
does anybody really need to clean the studio?
No,
Come on.
Einstein said it best. If, a cluttered or a clean desk is the sign of a bored mind, and I am far from bored. Just look at my place. So, but anyway.
So, Ron, the stuff that I've seen in the past, not that I am an expert on Ron Ukrainetz art. I am not. Let me put
I'm
that
not
on the
either, so,
record. But most of the time I see your oils.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do this piece in an engraving the way you did, instead of just doing like an oil painting?
And I don't really make that decision. I really don't.
It gets decided for
No,
you.
Sometimes it just feels right
Okay.
to do that, and I don't want to be pigeonholed as only an oil painter or only an engraver or only a guy who sketches. I like to use all of that to incorporate into my body of work. So I use oils. I do oils. In a good year, I'll do 80 to 100 field studies, and some of those field studies might become the background for an acrylic, engraving on the white Claybord, and which I've done, and thankfully and gratefully, a piece just went out the door that was like that, where I had combined an oil painting background with a Claybord engraving on white Claybord. And using acrylic. So, it's kind of nice to be versatile, because it doesn't let your mind go stagnant. And I think that's a lot of artists get pigeonholed for that. They only do this or they only do that, and that's totally up to them what they do. But my mind is way too active for that. I can't sit back and just be pigeonholed with one particular style. My oils are very loose, by the way.
Can you talk about like engraving versus scratch board?
I'm engraving on scratch board.
Okay.
That's the
Because
technique.
some people will say scratch. So is using scratchboard is appropriate?
Oh no, not at
Okay.
all.
Yep. That's
No. And this is this is
You
what
would be wrong.
this is
Yeah.
what got me removed from a very so-called prestigious organization. Was that someone once told me, well, we can't have you in this group because this particular group is the scratchboard group. And I said, well, that's kind of limiting because that way all of my oils would be linens
Right.
because I paint on linen. I engrave on scratchboard or Claybord.
Yeah.
So why would you want to do that? Why don't you tell it what it really is?
They didn't like that.
And I have been
They
engraving.
said you're out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'm not. Well, I don't really want to go into what I told them afterwards, but I didn't use any cuss words. I was very diplomatic.
Oh, wow.
And I told them, well, you can take your master classification, the monies that I sent, and I would suggest that you buy every one of your board members a dictionary to find out what scratching really is. And we left it at that. So I've been engraving trophy plates, rings, eyeglasses, silver since I was 11 years old. So I pretty much know what engraving is.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Shannon, you know how
I know.
old I am. You can do the math and figure out this is a long time. So yeah, you know what the engraving is. So, but anyway,
So
that's why.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned that you do engraving, oils, sketching.
Right.
What other styles have you tried your hand at? And I'm going to ask you that as we transition to your wife's method of
Okay.
art.
Mhm.
Have you ever dabbled in that?
I do some etchings, and where you acid etch or engrave onto a zinc or copper plate, and then put some ink on there, and then run those through a press. Those I use watercolor,
Okay.
and I have to practice for about a half a day or a day to remember that painting in watercolor is backwards from everything else I paint, because you start with the light areas and go to the dark, and with acrylics and oils you start with the dark and work towards the light. So I have to practice to get my head wrapped around going back, what I call going backwards. But that's just me, because there's some exceptional watercolor artists out there. I don't try and emulate them. I do my stuff my crude
Your way.
way. So, but watercolor is, and I do have a little box that I carry in the truck in case I want to get really rambunctious one day and try a landscape in watercolor, or a horse, or whatever, a barn, or whatever it is I see. I don't do that very often, but I still have that box, that little box I carry.
So, Echo, take the stage. Introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us all about yourself, where you started, where you're from, how you ended up here, what kind of art you make, why you make it, how you met this fine fella.
I was born in Conrad,
Oh,
and my family and I moved to California, and I stayed there until I was 16. And we moved back. I went to CMR in my junior year.
Ooh.
That was my 10th school. And
It's a lot of schools.
I met Ron, and we dated and went our separate ways.
Oh, you gotta tell them the story.
No, I can't, because it involves someone else.
Who will name is Jim.
He was interested in someone else and dropped me flat.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so he
Lucky
can't-
for you, Ron.
I don't let him forget that. And we kept in touch, saw each other, and then in 91, I went up to the art show, and 92 I went up to the art show, and at that time I was teaching art, history, and English at Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And so he said, why don't you ask me to do a workshop? So I said, okay, will you do a workshop? And he came, and then we started dating after that.
Oh,
And
that's a good
so-
opening
lured you
line.
back
Yeah,
in.
she missed the best story, though.
I did. And I'm going to.
Yeah.
At that time, I was just doing crafts and working with batik, making greeting cards and just small stuff, just trying to have a side gig so I could afford raising 2 kids. And then we got together and I went to more and more art events. And I can remember an event I went to at Paris Gibson Square, and Lori Stevens was there, Fran Carlson, Lisa Easton, and Christy McKay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at their work and I thought, if I upped my game, I could maybe be in a show like this.
Okay.
So I went home, and I like batik. I like it because I like the manipulation of the wax and the dye, and it's a slow process. It takes me a month to do a piece, so I put on wax and dye. I'm getting ahead of myself now. And then I can go vacuum and do stuff and then go back because I'm a little scattered sometimes. And so
You enjoy doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
yes. And so I came home, and there were about 6 of Ron's pieces, his oils, that I got permission from the artist to copy.
Okay.
So batik's a process where you stretch fine quality cloth on a frame, and then you draw the image on there, and then you start applying wax and dyes. So by copying his pieces, I didn't have to, 1, worry about composition, and 2, worry about color. It was just an intensive practice in manipulating the wax and the dye to get what I want.
Okay.
And so that was a real, because he likes working in color and I like color. So that was a really good hands-on lesson. And so I got in a few shows. I got in some auctions. The first year I got in the Russell. I didn't understand the, what am I trying to think of?
The process.
The process of getting in, and that you don't question them. Not that they weren't very nice, but I submitted 3 pieces, and I said it could be a triptych. And the director saw me at the Christmas party and said, we took one of your pieces. And I said, why didn't you take them all?
I mean, good question.
Yeah, I mean, seems like a logical question.
And he said, well, we'd talk about minimums. And I said, I don't care about minimums. And so they took all 3, and they sold pretty well for my first time
Well, you have to tell them
at the Brussels.
buying. You had this vision.
Oh, gosh, I had this vision because, people come from all over. So I had the vision. I was so excited. I wondered, is it going to New York? Is it going to California? Maybe even overseas, Canada? So I got the letter back from the Russell. It went 3 blocks from my house.
Well, I thought you were going to say Ron bought it.
Well, I'm a little ways away, but not 3 blocks. No.
Yeah. So anyway, that was my first sale at the Russell. And that was where I was just doing batik and sepia with maybe a little red accent here and there. And then I went to intense color because I just love working with that.
What year was the first year you had a piece in the Russell? Do you
The
remember?
first year I had a piece in the Russell was 2011.
Oh, Ron, do you remember what year your first year was?
The real first year or the real first serious year?
I mean,
there's
how can
two.
you be not serious and make it in the Russell?
Well, I wasn't the first
I'd
time.
like to not be serious and get into the Russell.
I got in it. The first piece I ever got in was in 1984, and the piece sold really low. And at that time, I used to imbibe in spirits a little bit, and I proceeded to tell them what I thought. And I didn't get invited back until 95, when everybody that I criticized had moved on. But I got back in 1995, and I think I have been so fortunate. I think I've missed 1 year.
1 to 3. I don't remember.
I don't remember either,
Yeah.
but I've been really fortunate to have been accepted on several occasions, and I'm very grateful for that.
So what you're saying is my stick figure horse racing sketch is not going to be the non-serious option they pick. I get where you're going. I get where you're going.
Can you tell us a little more about the prestige of the Russell auction and then the jury process to submit
Or is that
and
secret?
get selected?
We don't really know
we
the
don't really
jury
know.
process. It's very guarded. So,
Do you create a piece specifically to submit?
yes.
Yes.
You don't just go, oh, of the things I've created this year, this one is the
No.
one I like.
No.
Okay.
No. There's a couple of reasons that we've talked about this before. There's a couple of reasons that we just don't pull something off the wall. And I think that the reason is somebody at some gallery or some other event may have seen that.
Okay.
It might be on the website. It might have been on the website for, a while. And it's not what they consider fresh. So we each of us do pieces specifically for the auction. And that way nobody has seen them until they're juried. And there's no prior opinion being made or prior decision being made, because this is like they put it up there and they're going to say, oh, wow, or they're going to say something else. And we want the oh, wow for something fresh and new. So I think we both feel that way.
Yes.
And Echo, you were saying before you transitioned in your batiks to the vibrant colors.
I love that.
Yeah. And I love the colors you use too. I think
Thank
we
you.
have similar color loves. What are you, can you talk about what you are creating with your batiks? Like you feature a lot of women and Native Americans.
I predominantly do portraits, and I do a lot of Native Americans. They're historical portraits. They're from numerous different historical photographers, and oftentimes I can find information about that specific person, and each of my major pieces has a story. And so I can tell the history of that person. I really love to do that. But a lot of times their names aren't recorded. So I can tell a history of the tribe, or I can tell a history of what they're wearing, or something like that. And I have stories for each of my major pieces, and it's in a loose leaf binder that's probably about 4 or 5 inches thick with stories.
You've also gotten a unique award, an accommodation that was just recent up in Glacier, connected to Blackfeet Heritage. Someone's going to have to help me out, because this is about all I'm going to be able to help with.
Well, we on pieces that we sell out of the studio that are themed Native American or out of the studios, Echo and I talked about it, and we donate a percentage back to the Native American education here in town. And of course, we know the director, and I know you all know Dugan Coburn.
Yep.
And so we talked it over with Dugan, and we submit a percentage of the sales from the studio, and native themed works back to them. And in honor of that, we went through the naming ceremony, and both Echo and I have Native American names. I'm Soaring Hawk, and
I'm Red Flower Woman.
Oh.
My son was very disappointed I wasn't Skunk Woman, but, you know.
What a nice man.
Yeah, oh, yes, very nice.
What a great kid.
Yeah.
But weren't you, this is amazing. In addition to this, were you also some glacier artist and resident?
I was part of a show for a few years at the Hockaday Museum, which is now the Glacier Art Museum,
Okay.
for women artists of glacier. And that was an awesome show. I loved that.
Yeah.
It's really with notable women artists. It was a wonderful honor.
Yeah, upped
I
your
love
game,
that.
got it.
I upped my game. I stopped with greeting cards for Valentine's Day and upped my game a bit.
So talk to me about the piece that you have in the Russell auction. I think this is the one, the green shirt.
That's called Lakota Moon. And I don't know who he is. And it's a more contemporary piece. There's a lot about copyright that artists have to know. And I contacted the company that I found that on. And they were so gracious and let me use it. And I just love the look on his face. Some people think it's a woman. And, you know, it's like, if you want me to be Lola, I'll be Lola. So,
It's in the eye of the beholder.
Yes, they can be whoever you want them to be once you buy
Once
it.
you buy it, exactly.
but Ron knows that when I'm batiking, and I mostly pick pretty good looking guys. So I have crushes on them all through the process. But, you know, I either don't know them or they're long dead. So there's no problem.
So there's no threat for Ron here.
yeah, that's fine.
And that one, I didn't know the tribe. I didn't know anything. And so, excuse me, I put a moon behind it. And it's got the story about the different ways Native Americans look at the different phases of the moon.
Oh, okay.
So that's the story for that one.
That Echo has two pieces in. She has one on Friday and one on Saturday
Yeah,
this year.
I'm excited to get to that piece as well. I want to know how you pick the colors, because these are not colors that would have naturally occurred in that time frame.
They do not naturally occur. First, it starts with, you know, color compatibility. I start with one color that I really know I want to use, and then I have to use the complementary color someplace else. And then I am stuck. I have no idea where to go from that. It's just totally, I'm stuck. So I go to bed and wake up in the middle of the night and say, that's where I should put the next color. So it's just a process like that. Very seldom. I used to get colored pencils and do a drawing, and I never followed it. And then I went to the paint store and I got little paint chips and put all over it. And never followed it. So I thought, I'm just going to start with one and then go with it. That's my favorite part, is to decide on the colors.
Well, and I think it's nice that it takes so long. You get time to decide on what color you want to do next.
Put a little color on and then go vacuum and come back and decide the next color.
And you said it takes about a month to do a piece?
Well, it takes me... I'm slow. It takes me a week to draw it out. I draw it first on paper and then on the fabric. And then I do a detailed drawing of the face. And then I start the batiking process. And the drawing is about a week, the batiking process at least 2 weeks, and then the finish work about a week. So,
And are you waiting for each layer to dry before you can add the next?
The first thing I do in a traditional batik, which was done mostly for clothing, you always start with the lightest and go to the darkest. And everything you want to remain the color that you applied, you let it dry and then put wax on it and then go. But with mine, like with the green shirt, that's a little separate batik all in itself. And so I start with the lightest green and then put wax on it and then go to a little darker green, put wax. A major piece probably has 200-300 applications of wax and dye.
Holy criminy.
And to keep it from bleeding, sometimes I have to bleach that out, but to keep it from it, I try and use a drier brush so it doesn't bleed out as much. And then I'm done with the green, so then I'll go, let's say, to the purple hair. I don't like to use black, so my people all have purple or turquoise or blue hair.
Do you work on multiple pieces at the same time?
I have when I'm in a time crunch. I don't like to work on too many because then the colors are all the same.
Oh, okay.
Especially when my cat gets into the room
Silly
and
cat.
swats off the orange dye. And now every piece has to have orange background.
That's a Franny decision right there.
Yeah, then we closed the door because Franny couldn't get in there. And then the pipes froze.
Oh, no.
And so we had to buy a very expensive screen door for my batik room so I could close it and still,
So the pipes don't freeze.
so the pipes
But
don't
Franny-
freeze and the cats don't design my batiks for me.
So the Russell auction is the Saturday night auction. It is the what we might refer to as the daddy of them all if Cheyenne hadn't already taken it. But Friday night is the first strike auction for the Russell. And it, again, the Russell is one show of Western Art Week. So in first strike, which is the Friday night ticketed event, these are also unique because they are ticketed events. You have a piece in that auction as well, which has something to do with story of
Blanket flower.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking it was, but I wasn't sure.
And again, this is a piece that I don't know about the person or the tribe. So instead of looking at the photograph and putting the design on the beadwork that was there, I found a legend of the blanket flower. And the chief's daughter got lost and it was cold. And when she woke up in the morning, she was covered with this flower that they called the blanket flower. So
Oh.
that's the flower that's on there. And
Okay.
so that's the story that goes with that, the legend of blanket flower.
You can see all the art that's available for auction in the catalog, which is online for the Russell auction. But I'm just going to say it like I need to. The photos that are in the catalog don't do the pieces justice.
No, not at all.
Both of yours or Ron's etching, they're stunning in person.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Breathtaking, if you will.
That goes for all of the pieces there. I mean, the frame is so important that it goes with the piece, and the size. It can tell you the size, but until you see the piece with the magnitude of how big or how it is, you really do need to see it in person.
Now, you guys also exhibit during Western Art Week. You don't just create art and then put it into the auction, but you exhibit during Western Art Week.
Yep.
And you exhibit as part of the Out West show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to brag a little bit about your room and what people can expect when they come into your room? And if they ask the story about this nameless person that they want more of the story on from the early stages of Echo's life, will they get it in room, what,
148 for me and 146 for Ron.
Okay.
Next door, but not
Yeah.
connected.
We used to share, but our pieces don't mesh really well. I mean, they don't really clash, but they sort of need their own
They're very
space.
different styles.
They
Mhm.
need their own space. So we have a room that's full, but not too full. We always say we like the gallery experience where it's not floor to ceiling, where you're directed on where you should look. So
About how many pieces will you have in your gallery room, Ron?
Oh boy.
74.
No. You must think I work a lot harder than I do. No, I would imagine I'll probably have. I've got 18 display panels, and I'll probably have 16 to 18 pieces. I have a couple of large pieces that are going to take more than one display panel. So I would imagine
Well,
I will display 16 to 18.
with
of it.
your engravings, it might be a little bit more.
Yeah, my etchings, my little watercolor.
Etchings.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Wrong
they
term.
both start with E like echo. So
Yeah.
That's all I read
He
in
re-
any word.
Those
The
etchings and
the
engravings.
first word, and I make up the rest.
yeah,
It's a way to be
Yeah.
efficient.
yeah. No
E.
wasted time there.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably have 16 to 18 hanging, and then I will have some that hopefully if something sells, and I can put something else up.
Okay.
But
You have some
I
backups to
doubt
move in.
seriously I'll have more than 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you also have some of your plein airs that
Yes.
the unframed plein airs
Yes.
available. So
And those are fun. Well, like I said, I'm kind of prolific when I get out and paint. So I'll have a buy it now option with no frame, and people really tend to do that. We've noticed some really funny things during art shows, and one of them is if you put a red dot by a painting to indicate that it's been sold, that's the first piece and everybody wants, and they all gravitate towards that. So rather than do something like that, I just have this little suitcase. And it's an old antique suitcase that we got from one of our relatives, and I put a bunch of my field studies in there, unframed. They're most of them, 90% of them are done in about an hour and a half.
Oh, don't say that. They take you days.
And 40 years.
Yes. An hour and a half and 40 years.
Yeah, that's right. She's stealing my lines. We've been married for, 33 years now? 31 years?
30.
We've been together 33
seems
years.
like it's
For him,
eternity, yeah.
it seems like 40.
But we've been together long enough now. But
he's been thinking about you for that
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
I mean,
I've been thinking about her since high school. so
yes, I was just going to have your back, Ron.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But no, it takes. I don't spend an awful lot of time because of the way the sun moves across the sky, or the Earth rotates around the sun. If you're more accurate, because it all changes. What attracted you to this one particular scene is going to be gone in 15 minutes.
You got to get
so
it
you
done.
got to get it down quick. And so my field studies really don't take, at the most, 2 hours. But I put these all in a suitcase, and I offer them at a reduced price. And even if you open up the lid of that suitcase, I feel like I'm at a gas station corner, and I have a sandwich board sign that says, art.
Art for sale.
But I open that up, and what it does is, and seriously, it allows people to come in, buy a small piece of work that's an original that they can possibly start their collection with. And we do have a couple people that come through every year, and they'll look at the smaller pieces and take one or two home. We're grateful for that, and I'm glad that they appreciate the work, because they all know, that there's been some that have observed me when I'm painting, and I have brushes in each hand, and I go pretty quick. But when you get in that zone, That's my serious zone. You guys have never seen that, I don't think. Echo's seen it. When I get in that mode, I don't hear anything. I don't, it's like I've got blinders on. I just focus on what's there and try and get it down as quickly and as accurately as I can.
I thought it was just me you didn't hear.
Selective
It's
listening.
everyone.
That's selective sight, selective hearing, And if my stomach grumbles, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you get so in the zone like that. And you see it a lot in different fields, but in art, you really do see it.
Yeah.
Or in hockey. So, but anyway.
Echo, about how many pieces will you have in your gallery room?
Mine are all pretty, if they're like 20 by 24, there's only one per panel. I have 12 panels, but I have some smaller pieces. So I would say maximum 15
Okay.
or so, because I do small birds, and I've done some cats. I like cats.
This is a super fun. I've gotten to see a few of these. It's a new fun venture
Yeah,
of
it is.
artwork for Echo, and it's hilarious. Do you want to share some of the names of them?
Well, I look at like Degas, and I did something similar to Degas' The Rehearsal,
Okay.
and I put a cat in a tutu. And Degas did another one, and it's similar to that. It's the Absinthe Cafe, and there's two really dejected people there, and a cat's beside her, and she tipped over the absinthe.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny. And so I did Frida Kahlo, a little bunch of flowers on the head, and a little red scarf.
And prominent, I think you did prominent ridge
Eyebrows.
above her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I don't know if I did the unibrow on that.
Oh.
But anyway, there's some like that. They're fun.
Before I move on to that, some artists do prints. I would have to think some of the prints might be hard with Echo's style of art. Do you offer prints or just the originals?
I've never done prints. One friend needed something, and I did that. But when someone buys one of my originals, when someone buys one of my batiks, they know it's not going to be hanging in anyone else's house. I don't do prints. It doesn't translate.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything, but I would agree.
Well, you're right.
I love those words, Echo. I love them.
I don't want to be stuck. I mean, God bless the artists that make their living off prints and the people who can only afford prints. I understand that. But for me, I don't want to be stuck in Groundhog Day selling the same piece over and over and over again.
Personal choice. Ron, do you do prints? Any prints?
not any longer, no.
Okay.
I did when I first started because it was a way to establish a name. And back in the the early 80s all the way through the 90s, to the mid-90s, I did a number of editions, different, mostly wildlife. And I had some publishers that picked up on that, but the bookkeeping is not where I want to spend my time.
Oh,
Because you have bookkeeping, and then somebody orders a $300 print, and then you spend $400 worth of your time boxing, inventorying, shipping. To me, it just didn't seem to pan out very well. And the publishers I had I had a couple of them that were pretty good, and they did well because they would handle all of that. But then I get a letter from someone. Well, can you personalize this? I'll send it to you, and I love doing that. But I just really like to paint, and that's where the etchings came in, because I can do those. The etchings, when I do the etchings, and I can't possibly get the same amount of ink on the plate every time. So even though it's the same subject, I do small editions. They're all hand painted and they're all different. Even though it's the same bird or the same bear, it's the same image, but I can't ink them exactly. It's so each piece is a tiny original, and
pretty
that's
cool.
also a very affordable market. But once that edition's done, and I do small editions, less than 50, once that edition's done, it's done. That's it.
In defense of artists that do prints, especially artists that are starting out,
Right.
it is. I remember what Zach told us.
Yeah.
We had a friend, Zach Babbitt, and he did lots of prints, and he just felt like he was encouraging people to buy art, and then maybe when they could afford it, they would buy one of his originals. So it was a really good business decision.
Yeah.
But for us now, it's just something I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
To each their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As part of the Out West show, there are 2 additional auction events that are free, open to the public.
Are there 3? 2?
There are
Three.
3 this
Three.
year, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See how much I know?
Yeah.
I'm good at this. So those events select artists throughout the show, and they finish a piece or draw a piece or
Yes.
those type of things.
Yep.
I know Ron's participated in this in the past because I have pictures of Ron doing it. I have to assume, based on your process, this isn't something that you've participated in, but that's just an assumption. Tell me, have you ever been asked and have you ever done it?
I have been in Art in Action twice, but it's not. I don't feel comfortable with it because the other artists are working on a piece that they have to sell, and I'm working on 2 or 3 pieces and have one framed to go through. So it doesn't have the same feeling,
Okay.
and it's probably not fair. So other than the 2 Art in Action pieces, I haven't. It's more of a demonstration when I do it. Otherwise, you'd have to bring a sleeping bag and a sack lunch.
And that's specifically Art in Action, which is a Russell
Russell.
event. And then, Ron, you are part of the Quick Finish event Saturday night, correct?
Yes.
This year
Yes.
at the Out West show.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy bantering with the artists more than anything because you go in with a piece that is mostly finished, but you have to finally finish it in a given time frame, and
And
I like
frame
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then frame it, and then they auction it off. And of course, this year there's I think there's a percentage right off the top that goes to our scholarship program, the Out West Young Masters Art Program, and that funds our scholarships and then other grants that we offer to schools and to students, and that's the main reason that I do that. It's sure that that you get to entertain and you get to be in the zone. It's exhausting. To come out of that, feel like I just walked out of the washing machine and got beat up by
I
that
can
paddle
imagine.
for an hour. But I think the bottom line is who benefits, and so you have lots of benefits because the public gets a little bit of an education on what it takes to finish a piece to the quality that you want and to get the best value when they auction it off, and the proceeds. Who gets that. And that's a big deal for us. It's a big deal for me because we founded that program back in the 90s, and so it's a big deal for me to be able to still have the capability to go up there and I don't want to say perform, but you are performing for a live audience.
I think the more you perform, the higher your work could go,
Yeah.
possibly in the
Oh,
auction.
boy. Oh boy. Yeah, it's and I haven't, and I've been trying for a week or so now to get my quick finish started. I've known what I want to do for a month, but just getting that piece started and having, you get one shot. I don't have time to start over,
Right.
so I want to make sure that it's right going into it. And I do like naturally I'll be using a lot of color. It'll be in oil. It'll be a grizzly bear running up a hillside, and it's called the Midwinter Run. It'll all be done and completed in an hour. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say that, all of a sudden, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, 360
With people
seconds.
coming and talking to you in between, and it's
Yeah.
not like a dedicated full 60
yeah,
minutes.
that's why you get so exhausted because
Because you have to be nice to people.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
remember when the one woman came and
Oh my gosh.
wanted to talk about the picnic in her backyard?
Yes. Yeah, this was really relevant to the art that I was doing. And this, oh boy. And that was, you can only be in like two zones at one time.
Right.
Yeah.
Art zone, casual conversation, not a deep, in-depth,
Yeah.
recollection of something that I really didn't recollect.
You have to
So-
remember. Don't you remember? I
Yeah.
have no clue what you're talking about.
But you have to be nice and cordial, and I know I was because she continued the conversation in my room after the thing was over.
Okay. Yeah.
And but she
Well,
was
it's
a very
more
nice,
appropriate,
very
at least.
nice lady, and I don't remember the conversation, but I just Echo remembers because she
Something
was
about
standing there.
Checkered tablecloth.
I don't remember. I don't
So-
remember.
I want to get into the nitty gritty, and you can tell me to shut up and move on.
No.
But when you do the quick finishes and they're auctioned off, you said a percentage goes to the young masters.
Yes.
Do you eventually get any percentage of the sale?
We do.
Okay.
The artists do. I mean, and that's the whole crux of the Out West when we started that was that we have to provide a venue for artists to make a living
Yeah.
and do it in such a way that the public finds it enjoyable and they want to come back. And it's part of the education too, because each artist has their own style. They might have history that they would be willing to share with people. So, it's multifaceted, but there are chances for the artist to make some money, and the quick finishes are one of them. And I think that they're a lot of fun too. So the only thing
I
that
love 'em.
They're
the only
fun to
thing
watch,
that
yeah.
the only drawback to that is that sculptors that do that,
Oh, yeah.
there's always a waiting period because they might sculpt something in clay or wax, and then
They
the
don't have
person
the
who-
foundry there to.
yeah, we don't have the
Make the-
foundry, and we don't have the finishers, and we don't have the patina people, and I mean, so that's a little bit of a drawback. But bless their hearts, they're in there and they do it because they love to do it.
And they
And
have
that's
to
why-
pay for the foundry costs.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
That's not included in.
no, and that's not
Mhm.
included. The finished product is included, not the founding costs.
Mm.
So
Now, my next question, dealing with young masters, because I love going through the young masters
oh yeah,
room, I'm going to call it. Some of that art is impressive. When are we going to put some of that on sale so people can have an attempt to purchase it from those young artists? Because there were 2 pieces last year where I was like, I just stood there and kept waiting for the kid to show up and be like, hey, you willing to sell this?
yeah.
I think it's up to the student, isn't
It
it?
is up to the student
Because we've bought some, but some their families want to keep and things like
Oh yeah,
that.
and I got overruled by a grandmother one time, and I was upset
Bunch
because
of baloney.
I know it. I really wanted to buy that piece too, and but no, the kids have their own exhibit room this year. It's room 136. It's a kind of a large room, and our bank of volunteers, I can't say enough about. They're going to be setting up we have an exhibit right now going on at Horizon Credit Union,
Okay.
and because they're one of our co-sponsors for the show, and for the Young Masters, and so the top 20 of the 68 pieces that were juried last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess, the top 20 are on display now for People's Choice, and there's
Okay.
cash awards there, and sponsored by Horizon. And there's also cash awards because the jurors have picked the top. Well, let's just say we try to pick the top 3, and it's never the top 3 because it's always the top 5 or the top 6 for a little bit more substantial ribbon and award, and those are based on technical skills. And those pieces will all be showed in room 136, all 68 of them. Our volunteers are going to set up the panels,
Oh,
hang the
wow.
artwork, put the lights up, and they'll have the contact information there for the student should anybody wish to buy one. And all I can say there is good luck, because there's some really fantastic work there. We were kind of blown away at some of the pieces that showed up. It's really incredible, and it's inspiring because, like I keep telling the kids, one of these days I'm going to quit, so I need somebody to take over certain parts of this. So buckle up.
Am I imagining that maybe there was a time when the Young Masters art was auctioned, or was it just honored? Like
It was honored.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remembered something happening like that.
I think the awards are given out
Okay, that
during
must be
the
what
quick
it is.
finishes.
Yeah, and just prior to the quick finish on Saturday, we'll be giving out the cash awards for the top, 5, because we never have just top 3. We had to get some extra ribbons this year because there were just 5 pieces that we thought were
Couldn't cut it off.
exceptional.
Yeah.
And all of the pieces that submitted were good. But there are, as in life, there's always something that's just goes the extra mile. And hopefully those pieces inspire all the students that view those to up their game. Echo did. It worked for her. So there you go.
Yeah. Look what could happen.
Right?
Yeah.
Become Echo.
But no, we give...
Shoot higher than that.
So anyway, it's a great program, and I'm just I'm really grateful for the people that stepped up. And when I was running the Out West Art Show, and I couldn't do both, Mimi Grant was my sidekick then, and she took over the program. And I can't say her enough about she and her husband Don Grant, who both have rooms. They're going to be sorely missed. They won't be exhibiting this year for Dawn's health reasons. But Mimi stepped up and took over the Young Masters and just pushed it to another level. And so they've done an exceptional job for us. And keeping in touch. I mean, this starts months before we even get to the point where we look at the artwork.
Yeah.
And the students have to start pushing to even apply. And we've got 9 schools this year, which is a record. And I can't divulge any more than that, other than to say we have 9 schools. And there's going to be some awards to some new participants this year. That's it.
Cool.
I can't
Show up in person to
Yeah.
Yes.
find out.
show up in person.
There you go.
The People's Choice Award at Horizon is it Friday?
This Friday?
I think
I think it's this
Like-
Friday. Let me call it up on my magic.
We're all-
Thursday. Thursday, the reception at Horizon Credit Union starts at 5:00 for the Young Masters, and there's to be a reception. You can go in and vote for your favorite piece. Good luck, because you're going to have a tough choice. And then Horizon will give monetary and ribbon awards to the People's Choice Award and the second and the third. And so then,
That's
if
so
you
exciting.
if you think that art is dying, I want you to go. I really encourage people to go to that
So
because it's
you
pretty
gotta-
awesome.
sounds like a week long work that you have to put in, because if you want access to the Young Masters art for sale, you're gonna have to beat out Grandma,
Yeah.
which means you got to show up Thursday night at the
That's
reception and start talking to the kid about,
Oh yeah,
and they'll be there. So
Grandma's not
that's
going to
nice.
appreciate this as much as I will.
yeah.
I'll pay more than Grandma will.
Well, there's some. That's about the only place that the student and the artwork will be there at the same time. We can't guarantee that at the show, but the works will be all the works will be at the show, and then Horizon will have the top 20 pieces. So, talk to the student if you're interested.
Ooh.
Make them an offer they can't refuse.
I'm good at that. Although
You're very persuasive. You got us both here together
That's
at the same
right.
time.
Yeah.
not only have I done that, I've put you on TV, which Echo was extremely excited about in the art documentary.
Yeah, I have a face for radio.
No.
So I'm going to ask the tough question, kind of steal it from Shannon. Do you have artists that you follow and you're like, I've watched their work progress over this time, or I can't wait to get their piece in
So
our
many.
house? I mean, you're inundated with art, having both of you creating art at home, but
There's so many awesome artists, and we're no different than the customers that come to the show. They want to have a personal relationship with the artist so they can say, I know that person, and we're the same way. So, yeah, well, there's too many to mention.
okay.
Some are just the sweetest people in the world. Really good. We're not in competition with anybody. You're going to like what you like. And there's no convincing you to like something else. So it's really
I wish
comforting.
more people understood that.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
so
not going to be able to force
Yeah.
you to like something you don't like.
no.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's
it.
so comforting to know that it's not a competition, and it's not. You can't force somebody to like your work. You can just be happy that they like some.
Yeah. And can appreciate others and
Mhm.
question why someone would want to make art that way.
And the show is
Yeah.
just so awesome because you can come and have that personal relationship with the artist that created the work.
Do you go to the auction, the First Strike and the Russell? No.
I can't stand to see my piece go through. I know it's going to stop pretty soon. I just don't know when the bidding's going to stop, and I don't want to be there.
Do you feel the same way, Ron?
Oh no, I can go. I can go either way on it. There's been a couple of times where it depends on the mood.
Yeah.
If I just finished a quick finish, there's no way I'm going to go sit in the auction because I need to sit someplace quiet and get back into the full 360-degree world instead of the horse blinders straight ahead.
Yeah.
But I have gone in and sat through a couple of them. But the drawback is, we have an exhibit room for a certain amount of time. And my father gave me a piece of advice a long time ago. The thickness of one's wallet is directly proportional to the amount of time spent in the display. Wise words from a Ukrainian hockey player.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I've never left my room to go see the auction. But if I had an opportunity to somebody to come in that knew how to, talk to people, I'd go sit in there.
Yeah.
We're just afraid that's the time that
The
big
buyers.
buyer's coming.
Yeah.
Well, and there is something unique about the Western Art Week format, being able to get that access to
Oh,
visit with the artist. And when they either aren't there or are busy, at least when they're there and busy, I can just wait and then I get to visit. And, and that gives them the opportunity to have some conversations.
Right.
Last year noticed I had walked through an artist from Saskatchewan's room a few times, but then I went with my husband and he got entranced by this train painting. And I looked at him and I'm like, trains? And he goes, I don't know what it is. And he was just taken with this train. And then he turned to the side and he saw these two horses. He's like, I like that one too. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's just amazing that if I hadn't taken the time to stop, he stopped on the train. And had he not stopped on the train, he would have never saw the horses.
The horses, right.
Which then you never know what's going to speak to you.
Exactly.
And I think that's happened more times with him that I've noticed. I'm like, that's what you're into? And he's like, I guess. I really like this.
The kiss of death is when someone comes into your room and falls in love with a piece and says, I've got to go get my friend and see what
Ooh.
she thinks. Because the friend isn't going to live with that piece. The friend doesn't see what you see. And sometimes you make a sale and sometimes you don't. But trust your own judgment. And if you love a piece, you need to make that decision yourself.
Yeah. Other people's opinions really don't matter.
And it doesn't have to match your sofa.
No.
Or other styles in your house, even.
Yeah.
One
well,
of the-
you've
go
been to our house. You've seen it. It's very eclectic.
I love it.
And we have collections. We have serious artists there. We've got some deceased art from some people that mentored me when I was very young. And those pieces mean something. Very realistic. And then you turn over and you see the parrot made out of forks and spoons. That's our house. It's very eclectic.
Are there, one of the questions that I get asked all the time from someone who's very close to me when I fall in love with a piece of art is, where are you going to put it? And to me, the answer is, it does not matter as long as I own it.
Exactly.
Well, you'll find
right.
a place.
Yeah.
If you love it enough, you'll find a place.
And I always, years ago, a friend of mine bought a piece of mine, and he said, "You're going to have to come over and see where I hung it." So I went over to his house, and he had hung it in the bathroom.
Ooh.
And I said, "Ooh, that's an interesting choice." And he said, "Not really." He says, "That's the only piece that's going to hang in this bathroom. I'm going to see that at least 5 times a day. If it was just hanging in my living room, I'd walk right on by it." So don't rule out the bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good advice from Ron.
Yeah, that makes sense. It gets a lot of traffic in there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of that, with the bathroom, a moisture element, if it's a bathroom that has a shower that's used in it,
Well,
should you be careful about hanging?
Well, yeah, you don't want to
there?
hang a water
Yeah.
color there, or one.
It's like,
Really, no. Can oils be in?
No, the oils are fine. Acrylics
Because
are fine.
Boutiques probably shouldn't.
Shouldn't.
No.
Well, they have glass and
Oh.
things
Yeah.
like that. So
But we just make sure that people understand you don't want to hang it in a wet environment.
right.
don't put it in your shower so
Right.
you can wash it while you watch
I don't know
it
what
while
kind of
you wa-
lifestyle I would be living if that was the case. Although I have envisioned a beautiful shower.
Well, we were at a house, I can't say where,
Right.
and they had how many Russells in the bathroom or in the hallway?
6,
6.
Oh.
right outside.
But
the
it wasn't
bathroom.
a shower. It was just a
Okay.
bathroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's a lot of art.
It's like
When,
Oh, that
Yeah.
was just one hallway.
but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the amount of art you must have had to have had in that house to
was
get an
huge.
original Russell into that space.
You're right.
it was
Yeah,
huge.
It
Wow.
was, yeah,
And he's an awesome collector
That's awesome.
and a
Just-
really good guy.
and really
So-
supportive of artists.
That's cool.
So
What else do we want to know, Shannon?
What's the best way for people to engage with you at Western Art Week? We've
Oh,
talked about
great.
how you have your rooms,
Right,
and that's
exhibit
at
rooms.
the Out West show at the Heritage Inn, 146 and 148.
Yes.
Correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so do I just wander in and stare? Do I avoid you?
You
What do I
wander
do?
in,
Yeah.
you wander in, and I lock the door.
Okay, perfect. You're not leaving until you buy something. You
Because
will like
Which
this.
piece
Yeah.
would you like to purchase?
What can I do to get you to drive this off the showroom? We're in our rooms almost the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I've got a little energy thing going on that I might dash in Ron's room and somebody else's, but we're in that room all the time.
it's kind of like being in house arrest, but in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, in the most positive way you can have
Yeah.
house arrest,
Yeah.
really.
You usually have candy, don't you?
Oh, we have candy, and we do offer a little bit of wine.
To the right people. When they lock the door. Here's
Yeah.
the
That's
wine.
right. Yeah.
You get 2 of those glasses down, and then we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation.
What kind of questions do you get asked that you don't mind sharing? I have to assume there's stupid questions, and then I have to assume that there's really great ones, and you're like, oh.
There are really good ones.
People don't understand what batik is, and it's nice to be able to explain that. I don't. They wonder if the wax is removed, and it is. I have a 30 by 50 heat press that I put the piece in to get the wax out after I iron it out. But I don't know.
I've only, I can't think of anything that's really bad. People come in and they're really curious about the technique. Once in a while they'll say, "Are you from here? How far did you have to travel?" And then you say, "Oh gosh, it was a harrowing experience. We lived 2 miles up the road, and 10th was clogged, and
the windshield wipers weren't exactly clear.
Actually,
we try and keep it light."
The question they ask you most was when I had red hair, and they told him that, "Is that your daughter next door?"
Oh.
That was always
a great
good.
question.
Yeah. So my response to that was off the top of my head. You know how creepy that is?
Yeah.
You know how creepy that sounds? I married my
Gross.
daughter?
Right.
Come on.
Like, I hope it's not. Yeah.
We dated in high school.
Right.
And then we laugh, but I don't want to make them feel like a total idiot and drive them out of the room, but I make a joke out of it, and they'll stick around to hear more, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good technique.
I don't think they'll ask that anymore, but that was fun.
That happened more than once, too, by the way. It happened about 4 times.
That's great.
And it was pretty funny, and they'd wave at me, and they'd, "Geez, Ron, your daughter is just doing fantastic work." Gee, thanks.
Yeah. She got it from me.
I have a friend that I used to travel with, and when we would travel together, I think there were 5 years difference in age, and when we'd travel together, they'd always call her my mom, and she really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are there any inappropriate questions or behaviors?
Oh, yeah. Things not to do.
Touch the art?
Oh,
Well, Ron
Mine's-
actually lets with the engravings lets people feel the texture.
Yeah, and you can't really, you can feel the bumps because I do spray an epoxy over the top so I don't have to frame things under glass. My joke has always been that I don't frame them under glass anymore because when I first started, I was put glassing over the top. But at that time, I was 6'1", and hauling all that heavy artwork.
It's just really gotten
You know,
to you.
just hauling all that
compressed
stuff.
all your-
it compressed
All his
everything.
vertebrae, and
Yeah.
he went.
Oh,
so-
so awful.
Yeah, so, but no,
I can't think of anything.
I can't either. And
Offering you $5 for something.
there
Oh,
are
there are
people
people
offer
who.
you-
Oh, they offer less. They wonder if you can do less. But on the other side, there's always that. My favorite sale one year was when a young couple came in, and they said, "Someday we want to get a piece of yours." And I said, "Well, which one do you like?" And they pointed to Will Rogers.
Mhm.
And I sat there and I talked to him about it, told him that I would take payments, and we discussed different things, and they ended up taking it.
Oh.
But that was nice. It's always nice when people want your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We've had-
want it for the value it's at, not trying to.
You know, we have a list of people who've come in and said inappropriate things. You know,
we do, yeah.
Like, I don't know, that one woman who looked like she was sucking on a lemon and looked at my batiks, and I said, "Are you familiar with batik?" Because I've never taken a class. I don't even know if I do it right. And now I can't take a class because I would be really hard to do it. So I said, "Are you familiar with batik?" And she said, "I teach it."
Oh.
And, you know, you can be kind. She could have said something like, I've never seen it done this way before.
You have a unique approach to the way you do it.
That was the one guy who came in and said, "This is really interesting art. You know, I'd never buy it."
Yeah.
Like that second half of that was unnecessary.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
But those are the things you remember more than all the kind things,
Yeah,
and they're just sort of funny.
There's so few though, but I
those
remember,
are the two that I remember.
when I did a piece for the Lewis and Clark, and you know, I'm a historian and a researcher, and I get called on a lot to speak at different events. And a guy came in one time, and this guy has a reputation for being so critical of everything. He knows nothing. But he came into my room, and it was a room full of people, and he just walked in. I was in a nice conversation with two ladies about the artwork, and he came in and looked at that piece, and he said, "Lewis and Clark didn't do that. They didn't have any Indians on the expedition." And he went on, and then I let him stop for a breath, and I said, "Well, I think if you check the roster, you'll find that they had 5 Métis." "Oh, no, that's a crock. That's not what the journals say." And I said, "Okay." And I started talking to him and getting kind of in his face and backing him out of the room. And I said, "You know, when you read the journals and you study up a little bit more, you can come back."
Yeah.
And the two little ladies that I was talking to, and I turned around, and they're both like this. Their eyes are wide open. And they're clapping. And you know, and there are ways to get rid of that. But I have had people question authenticity. The first time, my first art show, Havre, Montana, in 1984, I think, I had done a trout on Claybord, and it took me a month. Well, at the same time, they had a convention of state biologists up there, and so all these guys are running around with the khaki-colored pants and the green shirts and the little badges and everything and name tags. And this one guy came into my room, and I was talking to some other people, and he stood in front of this fish painting, and he looked at that, and he was very intently looking at it. And I thought, "Oh boy, this could be really exciting." And the people left the room, and I said, "Does that interest you?" And he said, "Not at all." He said, "You missed 3 scales."
Oh my gosh.
He was counting scales.
He was counting the scales from the gill to the tip of the tail.
Oh my gosh.
And then they walked out of the room, and I did not have a comeback for that. I mean,
I can't even imagine.
I did not have a comeback for
stunned.
that. And I've thought about it for years. And that one guy, he didn't take the wind out of my sails, but he got me thinking.
I don't think you did another fish.
I've done a couple, but I made them so loose that you can't count the scales. But at any rate, it got me to thinking about, I need to up my game on clever comebacks.
Yeah.
But it's
Write a
funny
book.
that we remember all of those, but you don't remember all of the wonderful comments you
Well,
get.
we don't get, the reason it makes them memorable is because thankfully people are much more kind.
The one I liked best, and this is the funniest one, is that elderly lady, probably my age now, that elderly lady who came in and looked at your moose, and he does them perfectly. And she says, "I don't know what that is, but it's not a moose."
Oh my gosh.
There are just those moments where you just sit back and you gotta go,
Okay.
Thanks
Well,
for stopping in.
it's more like a moose than a deer, I suppose.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. I really appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's and there's so few. I don't.
That
But
must
you
be why
remember
they,
those.
This
Yeah, we
must
don't
be why
remember
they
those.
stick out, because you're
Yeah.
like, where does
they're
that
so
come
absurd.
from?
Well,
Yeah.
they keep
We're-
you from being too full of yourself.
It really makes sure you stay humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find that if you can make a joke out of it in some way, and maybe they're having a bad day, and if you can make somebody laugh or even just smile, that to me is a win. They don't have to take the artwork home. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if maybe they just needed a smile,
Right.
And I'd say needed a hug, but you don't want to do that.
Right.
I'd visit
Get you in
you.
trouble.
Boy, your artwork really looks crappy. Give me a hug.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. So
I kind of like trying that approach.
yeah.
I think we're going to start implementing it here at the
Yeah.
office for people.
When people just are.
Your website is ridiculous and stupid, and nobody's ever going to be able to see it. Let's have a
Bring
hug.
it in. Yeah.
Tell me what you really think.
Yeah.
Don't hold anything back.
Yeah.
I'd really love to know what other areas you're an expert on. Right. Well, thank you both for being here.
This has been fun.
Western Art Week is March 18th through the 22nd, and 16 different
12 this
12
year.
shows,
12 shows, yeah.
800 artists. I haven't counted them.
Lots.
Lots
Hundreds.
of artists. You'll find Ron and Echo at the Out West show at the Heritage Inn. Their show is open starting Thursday until Saturday with quick finishes Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And their pieces will be in the Russell auction, and you'll have an option to get the story of Blanket Flower in the first strike auction Friday night. And I have a ticket for that event, so you can find me there.
So you're going to go get it.
We'll see what happens. There was a few I wanted to bid on last year, and my husband lost his ever-loving mind when I got closer to the auctioneer, and he says, "What on earth are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm going to bid on this piece." He says, "No, you are not."
Yeah. He wanted to buy the train.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Little did I know. So come join me. It'll be fun. Experience the auctions at the Out West show. Experience everything you can. You have to plan every minute of your day if you're going to try and get it all done. Learn more at westernartweek.com. See Ron and Echo in their rooms, 130.
146.
146 and 148.
There you go. Again, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for
Thank you.
having
This
us.
has been fun. This has
And
been
not
good.
bad, was it, Echo?
Yeah.
I was skeptical.
It's all right to be skeptical.
She still is.
Yeah.
She's not 100% convinced this was real.
You should have told me it wasn't. Then I would have been much more relaxed.
Yeah,
That
could
did
have been.
happen
It's all
one
an
time.
illusion. Yeah.
That did happen one time. Yeah, we're not recording, Echo.
Yeah,
Just
talk.
talk.
Yeah.
Say whatever you'd like.
And the red button went on in the camera. And she was the most relaxed I'd ever seen.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
for being
Thank you.
part of Great
Thank you.
Falls. Thanks for creating art. Thank you for saying yes to every time we call and have crazy ideas.
Well,
We
thank
love
you
you.
for your crazy ideas.
And folks, until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful faces in our fine city, we do hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family, wherever you might be. See you soon.
We Are No Damn Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town.